Hey there, everybody. It's Kathy, and it's day one of the Summer Writing Challenge. I'm so excited that you're joining me for this challenge. I have lots of great stuff. Like, what I want to do is just pour all the goodness that I can into these 5 days. So let me just start out by introducing myself, and then I'm going to tell you how the challenge works. Okay, so I'm Kathy Mazak. I am a writing coach, and I'm a full professor and mom of three. And I have been developing strategies and ways to help academic women get their writing done for about 3.5 years now, based on my experiences as an academic mom, kind of forced to make my academic day fit into, daycare hours by very needy children. So, so that's the truth. Nice to see you. I'm not seeing comments. Let's see what I can do to see comments. Anyway, if you're making a comment, yay. I don't know where I can see the comments. Dang it. Hold on. Right there. There it is. Hi, Phyllis. Yay, I saw a comment. Okay. Oh, there they go. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Natanya. Yay, Natanya's here. I mean, yay, everybody's here. But so great. So here we are. So that's me. And let me tell you a little bit about how the Summer Writing Challenge works. So the Summer Writing Challenge is, the word challenge may be a little bit deceiving. Hi, Amy. Because, even if you came in the middle of this challenge and and you're watching these videos not live, you can still do it, right? Like you don't feel like you have to do all 5 days perfectly. It's really just 5 days of nuggets of things that you can do. Hi, Rocio. Yay! And Sarah Jane, hello. Okay, good. Sarah's listening while writing. That's an excellent way to use your time. Okay, so the 5 things I'm going to teach you this week are going to be kind of like 5 tweaks or 5 simple things that you can do to make your writing practice better and get more writing done this summer. So I will say that I'm joining you from my bed and my hair is all mussed, but whatever, because I am not taking good care of my back. And so I had my back go out 2 weeks ago. Thankfully, my mom was here. And right now, yesterday, it also started to really flare. And so I'm taking action on it, but apparently not fast enough for my back. And so I'm sitting in bed with a heating pad on my low back, which is what is making me not be in pain. So yay. Okay. So, just so you know, and that's why I look wobbly. I'm sitting, my laptop is on my legs and every time I giggle, everything shakes. So these are homemade videos, people. You're getting, it's raw. It's raw. Okay. So today's, the theme of day one of the Summer Writing Challenge is all about goals. Okay. And I can talk about setting writing goals for hours, and I have inside of my paid programs. You can see, some of my favorite, stuff that I've created is about goal setting. But today I'm going to give you some great, kind of nuggets to take away. So I'm going to start. Hi, Shauna. Yay. Good morning. So I'm going to start with some common mistakes that people make when they're setting their writing goals. Hi, Martha. So here's the biggest mistake, and I want you to go ahead and tell me in the comments if this is what you're doing. Okay, so admit it. It's okay. This is how we learn. So the biggest mistake that people do when they're setting goals is that they make the goal the project. So that they make their goal complete the project. Hi, Bridget. Yay. So if you are writing let's say you're writing an academic article, then if you set your goal as submit academic article, and that's you never set any sub goals, and that's what you're putting on your to-do list, this is the really big mistake. If what you're putting on your to-do list for your 3 goals for the day is write academic article, you're setting yourself up for failure. Okay. So what I want you to start doing is changing the way that you think about goals. So you might have a goal. So you have to align the amount of time that you're expecting, to complete something in with the size of the goal. So if your writing goal is submit article and it's May and and your goal is to do that by August or September, I think that that's a possible goal. So you want to make a goal, they need to be like connected to time. I know there's an acronym about that some people like. I'm sure somebody's going to put it in the comments. But basically, with writing goals, you want to make sure that if you're setting yourself a big goal, which is not bad, right? Publish a book. That should be a goal of yours. It has to be connected to a length of time that is reasonable, because that's going to bring us to our second mistake. But I'm just going to repeat something about the first mistake. Because if you're putting write article on your to-do list every day, that's going to backfire. Okay, so instead with goal setting, what we want to do is we want to create goals that are aligned with the amount of time that we're thinking we're going to, accomplish them in. So that means that write article can be a big goal, and maybe, and we talked about, excuse me, on the webinar that I did last week, which was all about planning your summer writing, one of the things we talked about was 3 big projects, like not more than that. Like listing out all the things you think you're going to write this summer, and then picking the 3 based on some criteria that we talked about in the workshop. But, you pick 3 of them, and all the other ones are not important enough to work on this summer. So that's what I want you to start to think about. I'm like, okay, I want you to think about what's the goal, and is it aligned with the amount of time that you have to complete the goal? SMART goals, thank you. Yes, that's the acronym. You can Google it. Sarah Jane, I'm so proud of you for admitting that you have work on paper on your to-do list. So let's jump into that right now, because we're going to fix that. This is a big thing. Sarah Jane is not the only person who does this. I'm 100% sure. There's 51 people watching right now. She's not the only one. So let me use you as an example. So if you have work on paper on your to-do list, then you have then you never get to say, well, I mean, depending on how you reward yourself at the end of the day, right? Like, Sarah, you don't have to upload a picture for evidence, but thank you for thinking of that. Okay, so let's say that you have work on paper every day on your to-do list. And the problem is that like work on paper is not a goal that is measurable. So if you go back to the SMART thing, the M is measurable. So like how much, like do you want to measure it by hour? Do you want to work on paper by word count? Do you want to work on paper by task? And that's what I'm going to talk about right now, because this is the way that works best for me, and the way that I recommend, which is that you set task-based goals instead of project-based goals. So if on your to-do list you have, like Sarah Jane has, work on paper, well, what I want you to do instead, Sarah Jane, is get a piece of paper after we get off this live. Get a piece of paper, or however you like to jot ideas down, right, in your notebook, and right at the top, the name of your paper that you're working on. And then I want you to just take like 15 to 20 minutes and break that big project, right? Work on paper, it's a big project. I want you to break it down into tasks. So just a task list. Now, a couple of things about that. They don't all have to be exactly equal tasks. Maybe later you'll find that something you call a task actually has several subtasks to it. That's okay. We don't need to get like too picky about it. But what we do need to do, and this is for everybody, what we need to do is break our projects into tasks and make the goals for the day or our goals for the week tasks, not projects. And here's why. Because here's how working with goals works in your kind of with your mental state. So if you never reach a goal, or if it takes days and days of writing, or months and months, which is more realistic, of writing work on paper, if you're doing that for months and months and months, and you're never checking that off your list, then it feels like very defeatist. It feels like I'm never getting my writing done. This project is taking forever. It's haunting you. It's that the thought that bubbles up in the back of your brain when you're trying to fall asleep, right? It bubbles up and says like, remember that paper, Instead, what you want to do is like create satisfying milestones for yourself by breaking your project down into tasks. And then your goal could be, okay, what I'm going to do. So here's, you can do this lots of different ways, but here's an example. So then when you have a writing block and you're like, what am I going to do during my writing block? You go to that sheet of paper where you listed out the tasks and you go like, okay, I'm going to do this one today. It's like a bucket of tasks that you can pull from. And so you could set a goal like, complete 2 to 3 writing tasks this week. 2 to 3 tasks on such and such project or something like that could be a goal. But you want to get projects off your to-do list. Okay, let me read the comments. Danielle, yes. Danielle says, me too. Yes, Cherie, so the time frame guidelines. Right, so she says, I've been a professor for 17 years and I'm terrible at this. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about that a little bit, about goals and timelines. So my favorite book about goal setting is called Finish by Jon Acuff. Acuff, I think. So that book, what he tells you is you basically have 2 options. You can either half the size of the goal or double the amount of time that you give yourself to get there. Because of this thing of like, you need to reach your goals. If you are continually not reaching goals, it feels horrible. And it's also like, it's giving you data about your writing process that is completely wrong. That is like, so what it's saying, the data is saying, I never meet my goals. I never meet my goals. You could be publishing a bunch of things, but if your goal is publish 10 articles in 2 years and you publish 7 articles in 2 years, then you didn't meet your goal. Well, that's ridiculous because you published 7 articles in 2 years, like whatever. I'm just making numbers up, but that's the thing. So for Cherie, if you need to take, so here's what I would do. I would take some time and I would think about like, how long does it realistically take me to actually hit certain writing goals? And then you have, and use that like as your data, right? Like think about it. Like how long did it really, when did I really start writing that paper? Okay, how long did it take? So you can kind of get data about your own process by thinking retrospectively. If that seems like a big headache and you don't want to do it, then another thing to do is just overestimate all the time how long it's going to take for you to do something. So err on the side of overestimating all the time. And so you give yourself, like for something that you think is going to take half an hour, consistently give yourself an hour. If you end up with extra time, you can start on the next thing. Nothing bad is going to happen if you complete a task or you hit a goal too soon, right? There's no penalties for hitting a goal too soon. So, but there are penalties for setting a too big, too fast goal and then accomplishing a lot, but not accomplishing the goal, right? Or in the amount of time. So what Jon Acuff is saying in that book, Finish, is that you have to set yourself, have to set yourself up for success, right? And this is something that that I kind of preach about all the time, related to, you have to think about how you can set up positive feedback loops between you and your writing. Okay? So you want your writing, when you sit down to write, or when you think about sitting down to write, you want to have happy thoughts. So we need to figure out ways to create happy thoughts about writing. So here's a truth. Probably like from grad school, you've probably been traumatized in relation to writing. Like something that probably all of us are pretty good at has become something that is so stressful, so steeped in kind of, this publish or perish thing, so kind of mired in imposter syndrome and lots of other stuff, that writing just like it stopped being fun and it stopped being enjoyable. But there are things that you can do to recreate feelings of happiness around your writing. And one of them is to set goals in a way that you're going to reach those goals. Hi, Jillian. Yay, you're here too. So that is something that you have to set up for yourself. And a big, big, big one is to set appropriate goals. Set goals that you can reach. And it might seem like you're tricking yourself or you're cheating or whatever, like if you make your goals, if you give yourself twice as long to hit the goals, just do it. Because you need to, like, how many times a day do we feel like we're losing? We got to stop that. we need to set us up so that we are winning. Like, this is #winning. That's what we want about writing. Yes, Gina, right? Like writing becomes something, like the nature of academic writing is, the gold standard is the peer-reviewed paper. And that means that 3 anonymous people. And what is the best way to get feedback? Anonymous feedback. You don't even know the background of the person. They don't know you, or they might know you, or they might be able to guess who you are, right? I mean, you have like almost no knowledge about them. And then you are just up for their relentless critique. It's like, how can we make sure somebody feels crappy about their writing? Let's do this. It's like designed to make you feel bad. So we want to design ways to make our writing process feel happy. And one of them is by breaking projects into tasks and setting yourself up for appropriate goals. So I don't want to keep these videos really any longer than 20 minutes, and we are almost at 20 minutes. So I hope that you got some good takeaways for today. Again, big ideas here are we want to set more realistic goals, and you can do that by doubling the time that you normally would imagine it's going to take you to reach a goal. Like, you double that amount of time, or you half the goal. Okay, so again, this comes from the Jon Acuff book, Finish, because hitting the goals repeatedly is going to give you momentum. And so you can either get to the goal in the time it takes and feel crappy about it and like you lost, or you can get to the goal in the time it takes and feel good about it and like you're winning. So yes, that's what we want to do with our goals. Kimberly says, we have 2 more weeks. I can't wait for my summer. Oh my gosh, I got to turn in grades. I have so much grading to do because I just basically left everything to the end and I'm binge grading. Poor students. But also now poor me because they've turned everything in and now I have to grade it all. And I'm in this little honeymoon period, which is like, I have all the grading, but besides that, I don't have to meet classes physically. So because classes were done on Thursday, was my last day of Tuesday, Thursday classes. So I'm done there, and the kids are still in daycare until the 15th, daycare school to the 15th. They're 12 years old, 9 years old, and 3 years old. So they're still in school till the 15th. So I have like a week and a half of kind of like open days that I need to really use to the best of my advantage because I have a chapter revision due on the 12th. And all the grading. Kimberly says, that makes me feel better. I'm in my first year and always feel like I should have figured that out during my PhD. Yeah, no, you don't, there's another thing. Let me just say one more thing before we leave. I'll get on my high horse about this. So the idea that everybody is, like every one of you, there's 56 people watching this live video at this moment, that every one of you is supposed to figure out how to navigate academia in your own original way is so ridiculous. No, we don't. Let's help each other. That's why I'm doing this. like let's help each other figure out how to, how to fit the writing in. How do we put the writing at the center, which is really what I'm going to be talking about. The core of my message, I hope comes across, that comes across this week, is that when you put writing at the center of what you're doing, lots of other stuff about academia kind of can line up behind it. And so we can talk about ways to do that. So Phyllis says, I'm home all summer with 3 kids, ages 7 and under. This is really, really helpful. Yes, I hope it is. Like, they're going to camp. I don't know what camp they're going to, but it doesn't start June 1. So I'm in this little honeymoon, like Jillian says. I'm in the little honeymoon while I'm done classes and they're still at school. But then comes 2 weeks of them home, you know, while I'm gotta half my goals about what I'm going to get done during that time, because all 3 of them are going to be home for 2 weeks, hanging out until day camps start in June. All right, so, oh, Marta, she says, I'm ending my sabbatical and I feel like I haven't accomplished anything. So, Marta, just before I go, because I know I'm at 20 minutes now, but what I would do is just actually please make a list of the things you have accomplished, because I bet you did accomplish a bunch of things. But because you set your goals so high, it doesn't feel like you accomplished anything, but I'm sure you did. So take a moment and say to yourself all the things that you did accomplish. Even if they're like, I rested, I got sleep, I did this. Maybe you didn't do any of those things, but I bet you did stuff, Marta. I bet. Oh, yes, Phyllis, you need some summer camp. Okay, Denise says, I'd love to hear how people manage their summers with kids. Suggestions on a schedule. Oh my gosh. I'm going to save that for another video, but I agree, like summers with kids and writing. Maybe that's going to be an extra video. I'm writing it down. Tracy says, trying to get my dissertation published. Well, good luck. We totally need to support each other. And so tomorrow's video, I will be sending an email about it. Or if you just keep checking in on my page, if you're not on my email list, but you're checking on my page, I'll be posting the links to the live videos, and you can get reminders. So let's see. Maybe what we'll do tomorrow, Janice, is I'm going to talk about creating a schedule for yourself. And so that will definitely involve, like, so any moms out there who are going to write with kids. This just made me change my curriculum, Janice, but I'm happy about it. So tomorrow's video is going to be about setting up a summer writing schedule. I'm writing it down. And part of that will be addressing like kids and but also just other stuff, because the summer becomes this like time that we think we're going to do all these things. Like, so perfect. So it absolutely like becomes this like catch-all time for all the things we didn't do all year, right? Janice can't come tomorrow. Can it be Wednesday? Janice, and it's going to be recorded. Don't worry. It's going to be fine. And you can always ask questions, even in the comments, and I'll come back in. But anyway, so yeah, the summer becomes this time where we're like, for example, I should have had a mammogram this semester, and I never went because I kept looking for the day that was going to be free, and there's no free days. And so now I got to do the mammogram this summer. Like all of these things that are like, like I'm just putting it off to the summer. So it's not just people with kids. It's everybody, like Cynthia just said, with unstructured time. And it's also like your time might be actually more structured than you think. But yeah, how do we create structure? That's what tomorrow's going to be about. Janice says, thank you. Can you tell I'm panicking about it? Yes, I can tell. And that's why we're going to do it tomorrow, so that the information gets to you sooner. You can watch it later, in the day. But great. So I will see you all later. Thanks so much for joining. Tomorrow we are talking about setting up a schedule and maybe I should use the word structure like Cynthia, right? Setting up a structured writing, a writing structure for yourself. I'm going to work on that. Stay tuned for my email about it. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Thank you.